Succulent gardens are trending, and so are succulent cakes. I'm going to show you how to decorate a cake with these beautiful plants made with buttercream frosting and just a few tools. Start by mixing your colours using gel food colours. Succulents come in almost every colour, so you can choose your colour scheme. I'm using deserty colours by tinting buttercream green and then adding a bit of yellow, orange, brown or red. Mix your colours and tweak them to match your colour palette. One of my greens is too bright, so I'm adding some yellow to make it more dull. The easiest way to make these succulents is using a flower nail. To use a flower nail, pipe a bit of frosting onto the nail and press a parchment square against it. The first thing we're going to make is a cactus. Start by piping a dollop of frosting onto the flower nail. Use a leaf tip and hold it flat against the dollop of frosting so you can see the arrow shape of the tip. Now squeeze the piping bag and pull up to make the ridges of the cactus. Keep adding ridges to cover the whole dollop of frosting. Carefully place the succulent on its parchment square on the board. Optionally, you can pipe little white dots using a small round tip. Also optional is this little flower on top, which is made with a drop flower tip and any colour of frosting. This next succulent looks really pretty in two tones. Fill half of your piping bag with one colour and the other half with a different colour, and squeeze all of the frosting down to the base of the bag. Start by piping a dollop of frosting on the nail. Hold your piping bag over the flower nail with the narrow side of the tip away from you. The narrow side will fall on the outer edge of the petals. Squeeze the frosting out of the piping bag and turn your wrist to make a petal on the flower nail. Keep going in a circle to make a ring of petals. Then make another slightly smaller ring of petals on top, overlapping the petals below. Keep going until you don't have space for another ring. Grab your board and, let's try again. Carefully place the succulent on its parchment square on the board. Fit your piping bag with a leaf tip. Take your flower nail, stick a parchment square onto it, and squeeze a dollop of frosting in the middle. Hold the tip of your piping bag against the dollop with the 2 points of the tip lined up so they're one above the other. Squeeze frosting out of the bag and pull your hand outwards, making a leaf shape, and work your way around the dollop to make a ring of leaves. Then make another ring of leaves on top, with each new leaf positioned in between two leaves of the lower ring. Keep going, making a ring of leaves on top of each previous ring. Place it on your board. And I'm going to make another one of these. Look what happens when the 2 points of the tip are next to each other instead of one on top of the other. You want the 2 points to be one above the other. Now for a spiky succulent. We're going to use the open star tip and follow the same technique. Squeeze out a dollop of frosting and then make a ring of these pointy spikes all the way around it. Keep making rings until you don't have any more space. If you have a coupler, it makes it easy to use the same colour of frosting for different types of succulents, because you can change out the tip without having to empty the piping bag first. I'm making another spiky succulent. Next I'm going to make a cabbage rose. I have my flower nail and a curved petal tip, number 61. I'm making a dollop and then a ring of arcs, and then another ring, but starting each arc in the middle of the arc that you've already piped. If you follow this tutorial, comment below or tag British Girl Bakes on Instagram or Facebook. I'm adding some green to my bag of yellow frosting to make it two-tone. What's great about succulents is that the colours are blended gradually and naturally, so you don't need a perfect division of frosting in your bag. You can just push the frosting to the side and add some more and it will look great. This pointy succulent is made with a drop flower tip. I'm using number 224. It's the same technique as the other succulents. Make a dollop, pipe a ring, and then a smaller ring on top, and continue. Now I'm going to put my succulents in the fridge for 15 minutes to firm up. I frosted this cake with buttercream in a pretty watercolour design using desert tones, and now I'm going to decorate it with my succulents. When your succulents come out of the fridge, they'll be cold and hard, so you can just lift them off the parchment squares with a spatula or your fingers and place them wherever you want them on your cake. After you frost your cake, the frosting only stays sticky for a short time. After about 15 minutes it starts to crust, so then you'll need to use a little dollop of buttercream as glue for your succulents. When the succulents are arranged, you'll have a few spaces around the cake, and you can fill those with some mini succulents. Use an open star tip to pipe little blobs, and the drop flower tip works well for this too. I'm going to pipe a few succulents next to the base of the cake for continuity, just piping directly onto my platter and only piping half a succulent so it sits right up against the cake. It's a good idea to keep the cake in the fridge until 2 or 3 hours before serving, so the succulents keep their shape. Ta-da! Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more cake tutorials every week.